I loved it. The dual quarterback system that Kyle Shanahan unveiled on Sunday, I thought it was awesome. I mean, the Raiders defense, granted, it was just their second stringers, but even if they were their starters, I think they would have been on their heels just the same because that added dimension to the Niners offense made it that much harder to figure out. And I think that extra little wrinkle will be difficult for all defenses to contend with. Although I'm sure they won't be shuffling quarterbacks in and out for, the entirety of all the games, even though it would be wildly entertaining if they did. But I think this will be a good tool for Kyle to get Trey Lance into the game plan and basically spoon feed Trey some live game reps. Because as we've discussed, Trey definitely needs to play, and not just in a mop-up capacity, but when the game's on the line. And this sort of reminds me of what the Golden State Warriors have been trying to do in terms of developing their young talent while also gunning for a championship. So the Niners are also trying to thread that needle as well.
Jeff, you like the two quarterbacks in and out?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing I was going to mention is you said Battle of the Bay, but it's no longer the Battle of the Bay, right? It's the Battle of Las Vegas, versus Santa Clara. So, but yeah, the two QB move. My first thought was, wow, this is interesting. We talked about last time, like, let's get Trey with the ones. I didn't expect it to be like that at all. And then the old adage of 2 QBs equals 0 QBs, right? Like, which guy is your guy and which guy is the players, getting behind. But I kind of thought it worked pretty good, going back to like the high school days of like running the play in almost the way they were doing that instead of like, communicating through the helmet. So very interesting. And then Jerry, what you mentioned about being entertaining. I mean, if you're going to do that for a quarter, a half, the whole game, I mean, that's definitely going to keep like the league interested, I think, in seeing those guys do that. But again, I mean, if anyone's going to try it, I guess leave it up to Shanahan to develop something like that and like, to get Trey really, running with the ones or get a little bit more of excitement with him doing it that way. It's something that Shanahan can develop, with his days with RG3 and all that. So it was pretty good, but I don't know if they're going to stick with that or if that was, let's just test this out against the Raiders threes. So not sure.
Well, I really enjoyed it because it worked. Had you had some, false starts because cadences were different, if you had some issues with snaps or something like that, then you would have had to tell Kyle, you got to go back to the lab and try and rejigger this thing because it's just not working. But it worked. It worked. They came in seamlessly. They called the plays. I think there was one false start on Sherfield, but that's not even a cadence thing. That's just him not watching the ball out there as a wideout. So I really enjoyed that. The two things that I heard after the game in the last couple of days, which just boggled my mind, were one, people who were against it and said it was gimmicky said, well, this can't last because they're not going to be able to stay in rhythm. They seem to be just fine in rhythm the first time they tried it, at least first time they tried it in a game. I'm sure they've been working on it in practice. So I just think that's foolishness. And then the other one was, well, you can't do this because every time Trey comes in, you just know he's going to run the ball, which is ludicrous because, yes, he ran a fair amount of RPOs, but there was a lot of handoffs to Mostert. And his threat held linebackers, held defensive ends, and you saw Mostert get the edge time and time again, picking up first downs. So, and Lance still threw the ball. It wasn't a Taysom Hill situation where he just got in the shotgun and ran power over the tackle. So I was really, screaming at the radio and other podcasts as I'm listening to this going, you don't have to like the system, especially for, old guys who are used to just get your quarterback, name your quarterback, go with your quarterback. But it worked. And that's what I enjoyed watching. So, and because it worked, I'm all for, if you're going to run this out in Detroit or in the first game, go for it. You've kind of taken it for a test drive. The logistics work. Go for it.